Live to Lang Park, and we're just awaiting the teams now on the ground for the 42nd Origin match. And what a reception the big fellow Mal Meninga is going to get. The crowd will probably get up around 42,000, and that's per medium of the new grandstand that's been erected here. It takes around about 12,000 people, and they are absolutely jam-packed in here and in high expectation of the Maroons taking out this State of Origin for 1994. It's been a tremendous series. Who will ever forget State of Origin 1 at the Sydney Football Stadium? And with hindsight, of course, it was a chance that New South Wales had of wrapping it up. But of course, then to Melbourne, and that tremendous performance by them to square it. But now they come back to, as Peter Sterling has already told you, a promoter's dream. Lang Park, 42,000 people. The end of Mal Meninga in the maroon jumper, a jumper that he has worn since 1979, when he debuted for the state as an 18-year-old, and of course was a member of the Queensland side back in 1980, when Origin became a reality. Names like Beetson and Reddy and Oliphant, Rodonicus and Cronin were in blue jumpers. The crowd waits now. They're pumped up. They can't do any more training because Queensland's going to rock you, they say. They might be in for a rude shock. But as I say, this new ground capacity is up around 42,000. And up there, as a reminder of Origin football, the statue of Wally Lewis, the king, whose own reign as coach apparently is under threat. It could be the last of Wally Lewis's association with the great Queensland side. He desperately needs a victory. And they haven't let them down, let me tell you. The hotels, the nearby hotels, absolutely jam-packed. Getting a cab to Lang Park tonight has been a torturous trip. And many people have been walking for 30 and 35 minutes from the city centre just to be here at what Queenslanders still call Rugby League headquarters, Lang Park.
This series, Ray, must have been a joy for the players as well. A big crowd at the Sydney Football Stadium, 87,000 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. A very special thing for players to play in front of that kind of atmosphere. Although we won't get to that volume of people here tonight, the special atmosphere that Lang Park has is going to be enjoyed by these players. Important for them to go out and get an early touch. You can't stargaze, you must get focused immediately that you get onto the field out there, get an early touch of the football, an early tackle, settle into it. I'm sure that's what all the players will be looking to do.
Well, you would have seen a shot of the Queensland door. It is open. Tosser turn up, saying, come on, it's time to go.
Well, the man, Wally Lewis, we saw a moment ago, his statue, known as the Emperor of Lang Park. A victory tonight. The Sultan of Suncorp Stadium for big Mal Meninga. Here he is.
Yes, here they come. And this welcome, this reception is not just for Queensland, but for Mal Meninga. The last time. The big fellas out there. This is the biggest party he's ever been to. 161 points in Origin football. 32nd time he's made an appearance in the maroon jumper, eclipsing the previous record held by Wally Lewis. The mural goes up now for Big Mal. Magic moment in rugby league. A magic moment in sport. As the Sunshine State salutes Mal Meninga. There's the man whose record has just been broken. 31 for Wally coming into the night. And now Laurie Daley. He and the 12 men behind him have got an assignment. Let's see if we can spoil Mal's party. And there they are. The Blues. Well, the Melbourne Cricket Ground had 87,000, and the roar was great, but you only need 42,000 at Lang Park to equal that Anybody who's been here will tell you that, and Peter Sterling is one of them.
It's an awesome thing to run out there and be confronted by the noise. It's almost a physical thing, knocks you back. This is a different reception for the maroon jersey. I must admit, I love playing at Lang Park. I never had a lot of success here. But to come up here for these guys in the blue jersey, they know it's very much us against them. It'll be even more satisfying for them to get a result. And Lang is going to be a key member for the maroon side. He's under pressure for his test spot as well. He'll know in the back of his mind that he needs a good performance against Ricky Stewart tonight, a test match coming up against the French in only a couple of weeks. And there's the Chief, our man of the match in the second game. He has been the linchpin to this dominant, at times, New South Wales forward pack.
The man of the moment. I wonder what's going through his mind, Gary Belcher.
Well, he'd be thinking about the game rather than the emotion that surrounds the event. Nowhere else would this Queensland side rather be playing a deciding State of Origin match. Nowhere else in the world but Lang Park.
Ladies and gentlemen,
stand by now for the national anthem.
Standing for the national anthem.
Tina Arena.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Tina Arena and the national anthem.
The national anthem by
State of Origin 1994 about to come to an end. A draw, of course, would see New South Wales retain the trophy. No extra time, but the Blues would retain the trophy. Some fireworks emitting just a little bit of smoke. Breeze from behind New South Wales. Bill Harrigan does his 5th Origin match tonight. Never have Queensland lost under Bill Harrigan. His record is probably only eclipsed by the grasshopper Barry Gomersall. Steve Walters is back for the Maroons. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go with State of Origin decider. Langer uses Fritz. Fritz comes into Mullins. Fittler combines. And Queensland are 15 out from their own line. Hone is thrust down to the ground. Nearly to the 20-metre line. Mullins again was the tackler. Jolting stuff, Sirenen and Roberts. Big hit on Billy Moore. He's in number 11 tonight. Larson, a long ball high for Walters. Just inside the 30-metre line, the Maroons. Beaten 14-0 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Steve Walters is tackled now. Far side of the ground as Kevin Walters flings it away for Julian O'Neill. He got around Benny Elias and got a very good kick in. Into a slight breeze coming into his face. Brasher brings it back.
Much better kick there for Queensland. That's been one of their problems. The length of their kicks is Brasher confronted by Hancock. It was a very good chase from the Maroons as well. One straight line. I think we might see Julian O'Neill do plenty of kicking. As Langer comes up with another tackle and the boots of Ettinghausen.
Harrigan now, the Chief gets his first touch. The young Novakrastrian, he's become a giant of the game. Through Stewart. Long ball for Daley. Wide for McGregor. Tries to beat Renoff. Renoff back in the Origin team tonight. From Elias now. They thrust it forward through Roberts. and they get it 5 metres from the halfway on tackle 5. Elias looks for his kicker, does it himself and puts it down on the far side of the ground for Michael Hancock. Wrapped up and put down by Brad Clyde. Hancock now playing it for Langer, a dummy half, and then for Kevin Walters, and now Mel Meninga gets his first touch. Sheringham was low, Fittler up the top. They keep coming on the wrap towards the new grandstand side, and Billy Moore ran into Brett Mullins. Mullins has pulled up a couple of very good tackles in the opening seconds of the game. Meninga from dummy half, through Kevin Walters. And now, it's young Smith, 22 years of age, the only debutant in the game. Played by Jason. It's gone away now for Larson. Larson put down 42 metres out from his own line. Roberts was one tackler, Daley another. Langer's with it, Elias chases. Langer puts the kick in. High ball down on the 30-metre line for Brasher. Brasher goes back and is pulled down by Billy Moore. Meninga going over the top. Mullins now.
Both sides prepared to throw the football wide when the opportunity presents itself, even early in the tackle count, especially after a mistake or a kick. All night you'll see Ricky Stewart throw those kind of passes to pick up Laurie Daley and McGregor, hopefully in some space.
It's great that Queensland have got the option there in their kicking game. Julian O'Neill. Alan Langer's got a great kick chase. Of course, if they can keep the opposition thinking there, they can certainly get more yards.
Stewart with a bullet-like pass, and Daley puts it on the right boot. Down over the head of Julian O'Neill. He's made to bring it back from his in goal. Reaches the 10 now. Runs into Mullins once more. Fittler's with him. Fittler playing left centre in defence. The Queenslanders working out of their danger zone through Willie Carr. Ran into the shoulder of Roberts. Elias goes in as well. Through to Langer. Across the face of Larson, and it's Fritz now. Back now to the right. Little hit of a knock-on. It's been picked up by Harrigan. A chance comes for New South Wales.
Yeah, Steve Walters just looking where he was going to throw the pass before he had the ball secured. And he's very good around that area. There you can just see he's looking at his first receiver in Langer. Good blind side here. Laurie Daley was going the blind side. He's come back to the open. That's the way Stewart will go. McGregor takes the ball up, takes on Renoff again. Can't beat the tackle.
Gregor, 28 metres out from the line. Bradley Clyde just puts a bit of an angle into his run, takes a bit of heat off it. And now it's Ben Elias going back to the blind side, a wide blind, shows it once, shows it twice. Benny Elias, 7 metres out from the line and picked up and flung back. Ball comes out, it'll be a penalty. Well, Michael Hancock has had a meal on Benny Elias.
Well, you can't believe that Ben Elias could make that sort of run. The one thing that Wally Lewis would have drilled into his players is that the first priority is the man with the football, especially the dummy half. The dummy was thrown. He got through the first line, couldn't link up with some support, but eventually drew the penalty with Michael Hancock just going overboard in the tackle. You see him, good decoy runners. Number 11 came up with the missed tackle in Billy Moore, but it wasn't a straight line from Queensland.
Yeah, Michael Hancock seemed to have got away with this at the first instance, then he went a little bit too far with it. He's known for his over-aggressive play at times and hasn't helped Queensland's cause.
That's the first sign as to how the respective defences are going. The fact that the dummy halves out there are very, very good runners, both Elias and Steve Walters. And if they start making some yards, we know the opposition defence is getting a little bit tired, some fatigue starting to set in. It was very early for Elias to make a run like that.
Timmy Brasher on the 20-metre line, 15 in from touch, and he's pushed it across the face. The ball goes over the dead ball line, so New South Wales will get the football back. No score after 6 minutes.
New South Wales nil.
Welcome back. No score, just 6 minutes gone in the Origin. And New South Wales on one of the latter tackles on their first set of 6 since the restart. Queensland come up with it now. This is their first tackle. Billy Moore running into the shoulder of Bradley Clyde and put away. Halfway line just in front of him. Steve Walters, the penalty against the New South Wales defence.
It's too far out for Queensland to have a kick for goal. Linger will call on Julian O'Neill to find touch. Should do so around the 30-mark area. 6 tackles. He does a little bit better than that. That's a very good kick from Julian O'Neill. Only 23 metres out. And they'll be looking for Meninga on the fringe of the ruck. Darren Fritz and Mark Hone to take the initial burst and try and get some momentum going.
Mark Hone is the first to put his hand up. Now the forwards queue up. 20 metres out, New South Wales rake it back, but Queensland come up with it, and that's the restart of the tackle count. Fritz runs into Seranen and Harrigan. Stewart comes bouncing off. That's the first. Now Mark Hone, run around for Langer, and Jason Smith, 8 metres out from the line. Langer again now, across for Kevin Walters, on for Renner. Little pass for Mal Meninga. If he scores tonight, it'll be his 7th try in this long Origin history for him. Darren Fritz with a good run. 5 gone, and the Blues defending stoutly on the last tackle now. Long ball. Kevin Walters. Even longer for Langer. Langer inside for Billy Moore. And a thunderous tackle by Harrigan from behind.
Turnover there. Great tackle from Paul Harrigan. They look dangerous, Queensland. Darren Fritz looks much more effective than he did in Melbourne, hitting the ball one off the ruck.
There's big trouble out here for both Ian Roberts and Jason Smith. Ian Roberts and Jason Smith, I think they've had a head clash. The young Bulldog is still on the ground. Roberts got up, took a look over his shoulder. There's Jason Smith on the ground still.
Yeah, there's a blood bin there for Ian Roberts. He's coming straight across. He's obviously come out of this much better. There's nothing more sickening in the game than seeing a head clash like that. Roberts a little bit of damage over the right eye, but Jason Smith has hardly moved.
And it's his brother Darren on the sideline, warming up. It looks like he's going to get a chance fairly early. Unfortunately, at the expense of his brother. Not too good out there.
Unusual to see a head clash like that away from the football. Normally you see defenders maybe trying to come up with the same tackle who can crash heads, but the support player, one of the defensive players, actually came in contact metres from the football.
Well, what misfortune it is for Jason Smith, and his misfortune now turns into an early insertion into the game for his brother Darren. Darren Smith will come on and replace his brother Jason, who was the only debutant in the game. He was the player that Queensland were looking to give them some creativity from the back row forwards. Here it is again. Roberts took him out of the game on speculation. That in itself is a breach.
There's obviously a great deal of concern. A lot of blood around the head area of Jason Smith. Unfortunately, they're calling for the stretcher.
So what an unhappy start to an Origin career. Let's take a break and come back to Lang Park in a moment. 9 minutes gone, no score. Well, still the trainers from the Queensland side are attending to Jason Smith. And he's about to be stretchered from the ground.
There was no malice there from Ian Roberts. He did take a man without the football. You could see that he'd set his sights on Jason Smith. The pass wasn't thrown. He was the support player.
Going on for Queensland,
Through
number
the tackle.
13, Jason Smith.
And very, very sad to see, especially a player playing in his first game, carried off.
Let's go down to the sideline for a comment from Steve Roach.
Yeah, much better start in Queensland, especially in their forward pack early in this match. Darren Fritz having a good game early in this match. Look, I think New South Wales are missing Glenn Lazarus a bit in the middle of the ruck. I know that Ian Roberts does make the yards, but he generally flops back to support players. They miss Glenn Lazarus.
So as Jason Smith leaves the field, Darren is out there, and New South Wales play the ball 10 metres out from their own line. Sirenen is under that swarm of maroon jumpers. Likely that Paul is playing his last Origin match as well. Bradley Clyde returned to the Origin arena in Melbourne. Stewart now across the face of Harrigan for Daley. Turns it inside for McGregor. And a bootlace tackle by Mark Hone. He's got the ability to cover a lot of ground. That pass looked forward to Harrigan. Thumped down to the ground. Larson over the top of Darren Smith and Steve Walters. The kick from Stewart. It's a long one, bouncing inside the 10-metre line. Khan. Put down by Fittler. That defence on the left of New South Wales has been very good.
Defensively, Queensland have been outstanding, and one of the beauties of their defence is they've been able to get numbers in their tackle. With 3 and 4 in the tackle, it makes it very difficult for a quick play of the ball, and that doesn't help the momentum of the Blues.
The other thing they're doing too, they're hitting hard. Really, we didn't see too much of it in Melbourne. Queensland fired up some big hits from some of New South Wales' own back.
Darren Smith with a good pass, almost put Larson into a gap. McGregor was the man that closed it. And now Darren Smith again, probably inspired by the loss of his brother out of the match.
With Ian Roberts in the blood bin, Brad Mackay's out there in jersey number 16. That kick off the side of the boot, out on the full. An uncharacteristic mistake. And that hands the football over in good field position.
Let's take a sideline comment on Jason Smith from Gene Miles.
Yes, Ray, Jason's got a very bad cut on his cheekbone and is badly concussed. His brother will go in the second row and Billy Moore will drop back to lock.
Gino, thank you very much, one of the great Origin players. And of course, partnered Mal Meninga so many times, did Gene Miles. Ball played by Dean Payner. Elias through to Stewart and then on for Daley. Daley moving freely. Fittler gets around Fritz and tries to go through a gap up the centre. Steve Walters closes it together with Darren Smith. A busy start for him. Stewart now puts Dean Pay back on the angle. And they're 15 metres out from the line. The Blues on the attack now. Fittler at first receiver. Then for Daley. Daley taken by Langer. The ball goes to ground. And Eddinghausen rakes it off the ground, but Harrigan has found a knock on.
Well, New South Wales aren't happy with the decision. Eddinghausen thought that he'd rake the ball back and that it should have been play on. This is the last tackle. Really nothing on there. Daley forcing the pass. E.T. back onto his knee. The referee said that there was a knock on in there.
I feel the ball might have gone forward off the hands of Laurie Daley as Queensland come up with the scrum victory. And Khan will play out 20 metres out from his own line. And a dummy half run up the blind side for Steve Walters. 29 out from their own line. Billy Moore now really getting himself involved. Ian Roberts has been bandaged. He's ready to come back into the game. Now for Langer. A long pass across for Darren Fritz and Brad Mackay. Mackay, who topped the tackle count for New South Wales in Sydney, is out there at the moment. Langer across now for Mal Meninga. Then for Julian O'Neill. About 8 metres short of the halfway. They're on the last tackle now, the Queenslanders. As Langer puts in a little step and again. And then gives the pass back to Benny Elias, who offloads for Bradley Clyde. Clyde, he's going to score. Clyde, he gets the first try. Benny Elias like a thief in the night.
Great work from Elias, and you see that he had to cover a lot of yards. Every time Queensland set up to kick the football late in the tackle count, Elias is the man putting pressure. We freeze it there. That's Elias. He's come from that spot there. He's got to cover a lot of territory. As play continues, you'll see he steps inside Elias, but by that stage, the second wave had come through. Elias, no doubt he was onside there, found Brad Clyde. Now, Clyde had some work to do. He pushed off one player, did have the necessary speed, and that comes from pressure. Great work from the hooker there from New South Wales, and he reaped the right reward.
Well, that's once again that little deficiency in the Queensland kicking game. A lot of pressure on Alan Langer. Of course, he had no other option. Bradley Clyde there, scoring a good try. They're backing up.
So the difficult thing there is that you go up so many times and come up empty. Elias probably through this series has gone through and hasn't come up with the charge down. He puts the player under pressure. And that time a try has resulted just because he was prepared to make the effort.
Tim Brasher from close proximity converts. The Blues lead Queensland 6-0 after 14.
New South Wales 6, Queensland 0.
Welcome back to Lang Park. You haven't missed a thing. They're back for the restart, and there it is, off the boot of Julian O'Neill. 6-0 in favour of New South Wales. Serenan striding it up to the 20-metre line as Brad Mackay comes off. Harrigan now.
One of the goals of New South Wales would have been to quieten this Lang Park crowd as quickly as possible. The best way to do that and the most effective way is to score some points. They're almost stunned and into disbelief, the crowd here. They're very quiet when Clyde raced away. The Queensland to regroup. They probably have looked the better side early in this game.
Benny Elias couldn't believe his luck when he came up with that ball. And Stewart now turns them around, the Queenslanders, and O'Neill has seen plenty of his own in goal. The ring of defence is around him, and he went straight through it, Julian O'Neill. Youngest player on the park.
That'll do the world of good for Julian O'Neill's confidence. Hasn't seen too much daylight these recent weeks.
Meninga using Hancock, who's come from the left wing to work on the right, and Queensland get a penalty.
A good decision there from Bill Harrigan. He played advantage. Bradley Clyde never made the effort to get back into the defensive line. You'll see here, didn't come back to the referee, the third man in from New South Wales. He gets involved in the tackle. No advantage to the Maroons. The penalty awarded.
Meninga finds the line right on halfway. We're watching it from the new grandstand, which takes 12,500 people, and they had a good view of Fritz being slammed down by the New South Wales defence. Now Larson's turn. Mullins is doing a heap of work in defence for a winger. He's got 8 tackles racked up so far. Darren Smith now puts his frame into New South Wales defence line. 25 metres out from the Blues line, and Darren is not well either. Struggles to his feet, and then the long pass for Langer. Out wide, Kevin Walters tries to put Steve Renoff on the outside. They're on the 20-metre line. Daley and McGregor equal to it. Larson now to that line. Hone goes down under Harrigan and Roberts. Serenan was in there too.
He's knocked on, Mark Hone. It's a good, strong defence again. The impact of the tackle forcing the ball out. And that takes the sting out of the attack. Been a good 5 for the Maroons. Unfortunately, may well have been a hand in there.
So the Blues win the scrum inside their own 20-metre line, and the captain, Laurie Daley. Daley captains New South Wales for the 9th time in this game tonight. Tim Brasher, he plays it now, 25 out from his own line, and off a shallow run, Dean Pay it is, who takes it a further 10 metres down the ground. Ben Elias, the oldest player out there for the New South Wales side. Second most Origin caps in the team, behind Andrew Eddinghausen. As Stewart puts the kick in, almost landing on the same blade of grass, would you believe? This one, though, takes a left-hand turn and goes in touch in goal.
Well, I don't know whether the footballs are different to the ones we've seen used in the first 2 state games. But in my mind, there's no doubt all the kickers out there are finding much more distance. That was the Ricky Stewart kick of old, 60 on the fly. First one tonight from Julian O'Neill wasn't far behind that in length.
Michael Stewart involved in his own personal battle with Alan Langer. That would be the furthest thing probably from his mind at the moment. But it is one of the big talking points in a kangaroo year. Larson. Langer in the other number 7 shirt. Steve Walters throwing Benny Elias away, getting away from another, and then taken by Roberts on the halfway mark. From Billy Moore to Alan Langer to Kevin Walters and across Mal Meninga for Willie Kahn. Kahn, he looked for O'Neill to come inside. O'Neill responded a little bit late. This is the last tackle now for the Maroons, and they're on the 30-metre line. Across from Kevin Walters, it goes for Alan Langer. He puts it up onto Andrew Eddinghausen's wing. He turned Eddinghausen around. It's come back off the Queenslanders. And Harrigan is going to put a scrum down. What the turnover it will be.
Yes, ruled that the Maroons had knocked on. There was a very good kick. Andrew Eddinghausen got all mixed up. He didn't know what was happening. Hancock there got the first touch. Well, I don't know how that is a knock on. It went backwards.
Well, that's what I said in the call. I said it's come back off Queensland. I'm surprised at the ruling, to tell you the truth.
Certainly came off Eddinghausen on that instance. It should have been 6 to go. Steve Renouf rightly asking the referee for the ball again.
Now Stewart tries to pump Roberts through an opening. He's 12 metres short of the halfway. Harrigan.
It's been quite noticeable, Ray, that Queensland are looking to get Kevin Walters more involved. On a number of occasions he's gone into first receiver as Ricky Stewart again hits a good torpedo towards the corner. This one looks like it will stay in. So the perfect kick when you're looking for field position. O'Neill does bring the ball out, but met by McGregor only 8 metres out. Kevin Walters really needs to take some pressure off Alan Langer. He's so closely watched these days, Langer. As Hancock almost through Ben Elias' tackle once again.
Fritz now climbs into the New South Wales defence. Clyde and Roberts the tacklers. Langer took the ball on the ad line. Then the ball comes down off a Queenslander. So the scrum will go down 35 metres away from the Queensland line.
Again, I thought it might have been touched by a New South Wales player there. Could have almost been 6 again. So a couple of close decisions going against the Maroons.
Certainly the big thing that they are doing well at the moment is the yardage runs. A great run from Michael Hancock, followed up by Darren Fritz. The determination is there. They need it there. They're going to go forward.
This is Mullins now, working off the scrum on the first tackle. 31 out from the line. The second play is on for Brad Clyde. And Steve Walters pulls him down. So we go to tackle 3 now with Ben Elias a dummy half for Ricky Stewart. And then for Paul Harrigan. He throws the pass and Renouf goes for the intercept. 6 more tackles. Stewart goes for the corner. Ingles in for Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen put away. 12 metres out from the line. Elias a dummy half. That was the first tackle. This is the second. And Harrigan is put down. From Elias again on the third tackle. Stewart across for Daley. Laurie Daley. Oh, that is magnificent. Daley, adjacent to the uprights, gets the second try.
Oh, great try from Laurie Daley. Stood Alan Langer up in the front line with consummate ease. He still had plenty to do. But when Laurie Daley runs the football, you know the side is going well. This was almost a try down the other end. Harrigan flinging the ball out, ran off nearly getting control of it. And Ricky Stewart pounced on the football. The flick pass inside to Eddinghausen was dangerous. A good run from Paul Harrigan next ruck. And that opened something up out wide. Just watch this from Laurie Daley. The big left foot step inside Langer. Another one inside Darren Smith. Pushes off a couple of defenders over next to the post. Classic individual play.
This long pass from Ricky Stewart. A tough one for Laurie Daley to pick up. He's caught plenty of them. Too strong, too evasive there. Next to the post, he's got his side in a great position.
So Tim Brasher from right in front. Just 11 metres out. His teammates behind him have gone into a huddle as Brasher raises the flags. And the Blues from New South Wales leading 12-0 after 22.
It really is a
points, Queensland Maroons, 0.
Well, as you come back to Lang Park from the restart, Paul Seranen has knocked on. He's arguing over it. Watch it with us on replay. And he's put it down right on his own goal line.
Well, he must be in his own in-goal area. You see just the other side of the try line. That means that we're going to have a line dropout. It's probably a better result than New South Wales in a 5-metre scrum. Fortunately for them, Queensland will be catching the football about 40, 50 metres out from the line instead of 5 metres.
Stewart's dropout. Bounces on the 40-metre line. Willie Kahn. He goes back off the Alan Langer pass. Put down by Ian Roberts. And now across for Larson. A short pass for Fritz. Stewart is over the top of Dean Pay. They're 25 metres out as they go to the left. Darren Smith using Billy Moore. Steve Walters goes into dummy half, pushing Mark Hone out of the row.
Good back line now for Queensland. They'll take this one up, both Michael Hancock and Julian O'Neill in the back line. So they've got plenty of numbers to the right.
Big tackle by Dean Pay. That's where they are, and here they come. Across the 20-metre line, going back to go forward. Mal Meninga throws off one, throws off a second, steps out of a third, and then offers the ball for Willie Kahn. Good work by Meninga. He goes himself on the blind, puts the kick in, doesn't get a favourable bounce, and it'll come out to the 20-metre line for the restart.
Well, the big fella trying to get the team back in on his own after that great run. The kick over the top, probably not the best he's ever done. A favourable bounce would have put the ball back into Queensland's hands.
But they need to be lifted, don't they? 12 points is quite a margin. When you have a look at how State of Origin games have gone over the last 5 or 6 years, there haven't been a lot of points scored. Leading by 12 after only 25 minutes. They've got some work to do, Queensland. They really need to be the next scorer.
Seranen now probably blames himself, really, for being down where they are. Knocked on from the restart. And been fairly fortunate, really, to get out of it as lightly as they have, as Harrigan turns it back for Roberts, his front row partner. Roberts back in the side. Lazarus out injured. Short passing by Daley, finding Brad Clyde. Renoff puts him down just short of the halfway mark as Elias sweeps it up for Brad Fittler. Fittler not frightened to go in and take the ball at first receiver. Stewart now dances around Larson and puts the kick in, looking for the line. He finds it 29 metres out.
Not exactly the kick that Ricky Stewart was looking for. Things are going that well that it found touch. He would like to have drilled that one down into the corner. But at least finding touch means that you get an opportunity to set your defence. Much easier to defend against this Queensland back line in a set defensive situation than broken play.
Queensland then coming away with the scrum victory. They're back on their own 20-metre line with Mal Meninga holding off Laurie Daley before giving Julian O'Neill a free passage for 10 metres, and he's put down on the 30-metre line. Now to the blind side. Nasty pass for Darren Smith. He did well to take it. Darren playing the ball 12 metres short of the halfway. Well, what happened there, I'm not sure. He obviously didn't have a marker who was actually on his feet at the time, and Harrigan allowed play to go on. Gary Larson tries to get a pass inside, and Benny Elias picks it up for New South Wales. That's the halfway line just in front of him. Roberts again. Andrew G and Gordon Tallis about to come into the game. As the Blues go to the left, and Harrigan takes it another 10 metres. They're on the 40-metre line. Ben Elias looks for his caller. And Stewart it is who puts it through the hands for Bradley Clyde. And Langer takes Clyde to ground. Clyde scoring the first New South Wales try. Stewart, long pass to McGregor. McGregor tries to get through, but he's pulled down by Millie Moore. and also by Kevin Walters. The last tackle is Elias. Here comes a shot at goal from Ricky Stewart. It looks okay, but it's just wide.
Yes, that's the option now. If you're within field goal range, 13 points means the opposition have to score 3 times. It was 32, 33 metres out. You see how close that was. Julian O'Neill looking at the post, maybe the rebound. Gary Larson looking to take the ball out of his own danger area.
So while Queensland are on the attack, the changes are made. Mark Hone comes off, as does Darren Fritz. And Andrew G and Gordon Tallis go into the game. Kevin Walters playing it now. 27 metres out from his line. They work the blind side to Andrew G. Sirenen has to go up high to take him. And away from dummy half goes Steve Walters. Walters to the halfway mark. 23 times they've played Origin at Lang Park, and Queensland have won 16 of the 23. Again they lose it, and again Steve Renouf was involved. Now Harrigan is calling a halt, and he's going to pack a scrum. He's ruled that it's come off a New South Wales player. Let's watch it again. Renouf had the opportunity to regather, and he's ruled that the ball was propelled forward by the Blues.
Well, what goes around comes around. We've seen a couple of tight decisions go New South Wales' way.
Now Meninga tries to get outside his man. Khan comes in. 48 metres out from the Blues line. New South Wales with 10 minutes to go in the first half, leading 12-0.
I'm not quite sure whether it should be Mal Meninga going across field trying to link up with runners. Kevin Walters and Alan Langer would best fill that role. You want Mal Meninga coming on, the burst coming straight and hard. There's a much easier target going cross-field.
Langer now pushes it across the ground to the left. And Kevin Walters has wrestled down. Stewart underneath and Daley over the top. 28 metres out from the line. Tallis, the St George super sub. He's put down just inside the 20-metre line. Steve Walters, Alan Langer. Langer puts a grubber kick in, and it comes down for Tim Brasher. First tackle for the Blues. 12 metres out from their own line, Bradley Clyde struggles his way out to the 20-metre line.
Queensland just unable to get exactly what they want, and that's a couple of sets of 6 down in this part of the football field. Brett Mullins nearly gets outside Willie Kahn. A kick from Alan Langer there, didn't get into the in-goal area.
Serena now standing and pushing it across for Ben Elias to give it on for Dean Pay. Pay is put down, 25 out from his line. New South Wales have not won an Origin decider at Lang Park.
Paul Serena has left the field. Brad Mackay goes on as that kick again finds touch from Stewart. 32 metres out from the Queensland try line. Under 9 minutes to go in this first half. Danger time now, crucial time. A lot of points scored either side of the break. A little bit of concentration really needs to be spoken about now.
Sideline comment from Gene Miles.
Yeah, I think Queensland's got the right idea, right? They're trying to push the ball wide, but unfortunately the inside men aren't giving their outside men good service, and therefore we've seen the ball go to ground on a number of occasions.
And we said the amount of time when it's a New South Wales scrum. Laurie Daley changes with Paul McGregor. I think he knows Mal's play backwards, and that's probably put there so he can handle Mal Meninga.
Michael Hancock struggling to play the ball. It has since come through 3 sets of hands for Meninga. Meninga 38 metres out from his own line. 2 converted tries to the Blues. 1 for Clyde, 1 for Daley. And Brasher has added the extras. Billy Moore now for Michael Hancock. He's able to beat a couple before offloading. Renouf from a standing start. Runs into Fittler. Intercept! They won't catch Brett Mullins! Brett Mullins! He goes in to score right under the uprights.
Well,
what a magnificent moment for young Brett Mullins.
No, they've had some opportunities, New South Wales, and they've been able to capitalise on every one of them. Almost frustration in the Queensland attack there. They're very good at that, and they're keeping the ball alive. But this pass from Renouf didn't need to be thrown. You see here Gary Larson keeping the ball alive with the inside pass. Michael Hancock becomes involved from this one. Billy Moore getting the ball away. But the defence, the sliding defence from New South Wales, the scrambling has been very good. Renouf there, faced by 3 defenders. Through the pass really in desperation, and Brett Mullins, who's looked for work all night, comes up with an easy run to the try line, exactly where you want to score them.
A little bit unfortunate here for Steve Renouf. He is trying to create something out of nothing there. Brett Mullins, well, his first Origin try, certainly won't be his last. So, number 2.
Yeah, you'll find that's his second try. Brett Mullins in Origin football. And what a delight that must have been. But at least 2 of the New South Wales tries have come from lack of discipline with the football by Queensland. And Tim Brasher, the flags go up. I thought for a moment he might have pushed it wide. 18 points to 0 in favour of the Blues over the Maroons.
Again, it's amazing how many points are scored late in a half. Steve Renouf didn't see out the corner of his eye that Brett Mullins had got up into the attacking line of the Queensland team. Mullins, probably one of the quickest players out there, was never going to be caught when he had open spaces.
This is Dean Payne.
Very quiet crowd out there, Badge.
I'm just looking at the scoreboard before you say anything, Gary. The scoreboard was showing 16-0, and I think that was because they've got these green lights and red lights on top of the uprights. The lights were showing red, which indicated no goal, yet the touch judges had their flag up. So the poor old scoreboard attendant, he didn't know what to do.
Certainly a goal. The crowd is quiet, Sturlo, and real high expectations of a Queensland victory, and certainly want their side in it at half-time. It doesn't look that case at the moment. They don't write them off yet. Queensland come back from some pretty tough situations.
Let's go down to the sidelines to Steve Roach now.
Yeah, Ian Roberts left the field earlier with get a couple of stitches, but he's left now. He was complaining to the trainer that he couldn't see out of his eye, so they've replaced him with Paul Siren.
That's where the scrum is packing, just 10 metres away from the Queensland line. A scrum that they should win. Just under 5 minutes of the first half remaining. And it's been all New South Wales, aided, of course, by some very sloppy Queensland play. Billy Moore is on his own 20-metre line. Away from dummy half goes Steve Walters. Missing from Origin 2 in Melbourne. Langer. Meninga got a pass that he wasn't expecting. He's 33 metres out from his own line. Langer a dummy half. Steve Walters, just looking at Steve, he was hunched over as though he was struggling to get some air in the lungs. That's him putting the kick in. He's been out of football for a little while now, Steve Walters. Maybe the pace of Origin football is telling the tale on him. Brasher thumped into the ground by Meninga. Daley looking to go wide, but then turning back. A brilliant solo try for Laurie Daley. Brad Clyde, another of the try scorers. In fact, Canberra have scored the 3 tries. Daley, Clyde and Mullins.
Nice to have those combinations out there, but important now for New South Wales, even this far out, not to close up the game. With that kind of lead, you could almost sit back and say, well, we'll defend it, but they must remain positive. To win a State of Origin series, you must be positive in everything you do. And even with this lead, that was touched, so everybody's on side for New South Wales. Fittler.
The loose ball is picked up by New South Wales. Brad Fittler is with it. Puts the kick into the corner. Looks for Eddinghausen. Hancock does well. Eddinghausen cleans him up back on the goal line.
About the pace of this game so far. No wonder Steve Walters has seemed to be struggling. Just gone from one end of the field to the other. I haven't seen too many State of Origin games quicker. The players all say these are the fastest they get involved in. And certainly up there with the best of them.
That was Brad Fittler looking for Andrew Eddinghausen, but Michael Hancock, he covered the ground like a gazelle. Talking of the speed of Origin, I see where Mal Meninga rated State of Origin 1 as the fastest and hardest game he's played in, and he rated it twice as fast as Winfield Cup. That is scary. The kick by O'Neill, and Brasher brings it back 35 metres out from his own line. 18 points to 0. as Brasher makes an incisive run. Passes for Benny Elias, but Benny had gone to sleep on it. Referee ruling the knock on. Elias almost apologetic to his Balmain teammate Brasher.
Good run from Tim Brasher, spinning out of a few tackles and caught the Queensland defence asleep. And Elias there with a little fumble.
About 1 3/4 minutes of the first half remaining. Renouf playing it now. The pictures coming out of Channel 9 in Australia, going around the world. 35 metres out from their own line. Queensland have got out of some tight spots in Origin history, but can they get out of this? 18-0 down with 41 1/4 minutes to go. Larson, Meninga, over the halfway. Kevin Walters, Alan Langer, 40 metres out. Steve Walters, a chance here.
Let's go, Queensland.
Gordon Tallis is brought down. 21 metres out from the line. This is the last. Khan is the dummy half. The runner is Kevin Walters. He puts a kick in, regathers. Here's a try. Here's a try for Andrew G. Andrew G. He scores for the Maroons. 18 points to 4 now.
Well, the clock's counting down. Going to score before half-time. It had to be done on this tackle. But for the last, a little ball inside there from Mal. Kevin Walters has been involved twice already. Steve Walters taking a nice pass from Mal. Putting one to Gordon Tallis. See here, it's a fairly quick play. The ball does Tallis. It's Kevin Walters with the little left footer through. Andrew G backing up, shows the ball. Queensland, well, if they're not back in it, they've certainly closed the gap a bit.
This was tremendous work by Kevin Walters. The kick, the regather and the pass, all in one motion. And Andrew G gets his first Origin try. That crucial period just before half-time, has it allowed Queensland back into the game? Wally Lewis was halfway to the dressing room. Julian O'Neill. 18 metres out. It's just off centre. A chance to take Queensland to the break. 12 points down, hits the upright, goes through, and so the try is converted. New South Wales leading Queensland at half-time by 18 points to 6. And welcome back live to Lang Park in Brisbane with the half-time news repeating 18 points to 6 in favour of New South Wales. 3 converted tries and the Queensland try coming just on half-time. Well, what's been happening in the dressing rooms, particularly New South Wales at this point in time? Steve Roach.
New South Wales dressing room very, very happy. Phil Gould very happy with their defence, but he's saying you can't afford to relax. This 40 minutes, I want it to be the best of the series. We've worked 3 years to win a State of Origin series at Lang Park. Just think of how good it will be to carry around the shield. He was very, very happy with their chasing game, especially Brett Mullins, Andrew Eddinghausen and Ben Elias. He's played special mention to them players. But he just said, fellas, the emotion, just imagine how good it'll feel to hold up the shield and keep this Queensland crowd quiet.
Okay, Steve, thank you. And while you were talking, we had pictures there of Phil Gould. They're still there talking to the New South Wales side. Let's go to Gene Miles. What happened in the Queensland room, mate?
Well, Ray, obviously the main topic was the ball control. It's been absolutely terrible. He said that's got to be picked up. Also, he said he was happy with the final 15 minutes. Their intensity picked up a great deal, and that obviously led to the try. He wants the guys to complain to Bill Harrigan about Benny Elias standing square on at second mark. He seems to be getting out of there very quickly. And Ray, an update on Jason Smith. He's been taken to hospital, and the Queensland management are going to ask the New South Wales to have a look at that particular tackle.
Okay, Gene, thank you. That was a point in the game that we probably didn't have time to dwell on. He was certainly taken out, not in possession, and there was no report from either touch judge, and the referee didn't see it. The stats at this point in time as they come back.
Statistically, the problem for Queensland is, as Gene Walls pointed out, was the mistakes they made with the football. A lot of handling errors, something like 9 in that first half. That's way too many at at this elite level in 40 minutes. Mal Meninga laying the law down to his troops, and there were quite a few missed tackles there, 14 up against 10 for New South Wales. Plenty of football for both sides, almost even there. The ball control at times has been very good, but if you're going to make mistakes, you really need to make them down your end of the field. We've seen that Queensland have made mistakes that have allowed New South Wales easy runs to the line.
All right, Gary, as New South Wales come back out as a Queenslander, can they get out of this one?
Well, I think they've already started to, really. The crucial try we saw right on half-time. Without that, going into the second half at 18-0, would have been dire for Queensland. Sterlo was already talking about how New South Wales are going to wrap the game up. They should continue to go forward, should continue to try to score. Well, they won't be at all happy that they've let the Maroons back in it. I think certainly they can, Ray.
I do think that the field goal is still the play, as Laurie Daley questions Bill Harrigan. Maybe something that came out of that first 40 minutes. I think you'll see that Ricky Stewart, if he gets an opportunity, will set himself to put the top side 13 in front.
There's no doubt in my mind Daley was asking Bill Harrigan his interpretation of what constitutes a knock-on, and Harrigan indicated the length of the arm, any part thereof. Well, the fat man, he wouldn't be feeling all that well either back in Sydney. But anyway, let me tell you, you've got a very good substitute. He also barracks heavily for them as the start gets underway here again. And it's Sheridan who's brought down for New South Wales. Played a vital role early on as Fittler now accepts a forward play. Something that he's done very willingly in the first half of the match. And Harrigan now storms outside the 20-metre line. Elias with a dummy and then runs into Kevin Walters and Andrew G. Daley a dummy half. Across for the kick from Stewart. An enthusiastic charge down attempt by Langer. O'Neill comes back. Mark Hone is back on for Gordon Tallis, and again a loose pass by the Queenslanders. They had to clean it up. Renoff. 18 points to 6 then in favour of New South Wales. 3 tries to Raiders, Mullins, Clyde and Daley. And Andrew G got the Queensland try. The ball goes loose and the Blues come up with it again. Played out there by Brad Fittler, 10 metres into opposition area. This is Brad Clyde now.
Another hit up from Brad Clyde. For mine, the best player out there. He's done plenty of work. 19 tackles, 10 hit-ups. Special mention for Gary Larson as well, who's come up with 22 tackles. So he's been working the joint down for Queensland. Clyde really getting involved.
Daley from dummy half, getting it away for Dean Pay.
Oh,
a couple of haymakers from Andrew G. Harrigan comes rushing in. Dean Pay goes to ground.
Well, he didn't muck about there, Andrew G. A couple of big uppercuts there. I don't know how successful they were connecting with Dean Pay. But Pay really wasn't in any position to be throwing them back. He was in the air. Darren Smith and Andrew G combining there. I don't know what Dean Pay has said or done. Andrew G threw a couple, drove him back. No great damage done, except it's going to be a penalty against his side. Almost within kicking distance. I think they would have a go.
It's a bit of ill discipline there from Andrew G. He's having a fine night, scoring that try that put his team back in it.
Ben Elias's motion to the bench, basically asking, what should we do here? I'm surprised that they're going to kick for touch. Thought that Brasher at the very least would put that one dead. If he was successful, they'd have had to score 3 times, but they put all the eggs in the one basket looking for the 6 points.
So New South Wales with their first on this set of 6. And Andrew Eddinghausen is tackled 12 metres out. Through to Stewart and then a short pass for his Balmain teammate. Sheridan is there, 10 metres out in the centre. Stewart ran the decoy. Daley back for Elias, around the back for Clyde. They're 15 metres out. McGregor getting very deep, out wide to the right. Elias goes for the drop goal, and it's there. That's a further point to the Blues tally. 19 points to 6 now.
Well, that was the mentality of New South Wales. They didn't worry about the 2, but if they didn't score in the first 3 or 4 rucks, then take the 1 point from an easy position early in the tackle count. He didn't wait till the 5th or the 6th. Elias has only scored 5 Origin points, but that one there might be the crucial one of this series.
Restart. Something that Queensland didn't want to have a part of. Certainly not this early in the second half. So they now need more than 2 converted tries. But it'd be a brave man to think that Queensland can't come back.
Well, Queensland always needed more than 2 converted tries, of course. A drawn game, the drawn series means the trophy stays with New South Wales. I don't think the equation has changed too much now for the Maroons.
I don't think the Blues would be happy with the draw either. Daley turns it back inside, and that's Tim Brasher. He's had a fine game, Brasher, a fine series, in fact. 40 metres out as Ben Elias stands to give the pass to Daley. Daley's away again. He's got Clyde with him. In fact, it was Mackay, and Daley is put down. Did he hold on too long? Here they come again. Stewart taken in a bone crusher. The ball comes loose. McGregor turns it in. This is the last tackle. Ben Elias puts a grubber kick in to find the line.
Oh, Laurie Daley's busted them up the middle again, and he wanted Brad Mackay to come back at the angle. Mackay didn't read it. Shapes to kick Daley. Sees Larson not coming up in defence. Misses the tackle. Now he motions to Brad Mackay that he wants him to go back that way. Mackay stayed out, didn't get in a position that he could throw the football, and the play broke down on the last tackle. An easy bust up the middle.
Laurie Daley having a superb game. And he wouldn't be happy with Brad Mackay there, because as you saw, and as I often tell you, champions, they make their own time. He had time to say, would you mind coming inside, please?
Now, having said that, Ray, if Mackay did run the angle and get the football, that's where most of the cover defence from Queensland was coming from. I don't think there was much on back that way.
Andrew G now, galloping his way 35 metres out, and the Maroons have got another injury problem. Michael Hancock bleeding, I think it's from the nose. He might have to be blood-binned. Mark Coyne has gone to the sidelines. They're on their 40-metre line, the Maroons of Queensland. O'Neill's kick over the head of Brasher, and Eddinghausen falls back to take it out. Eddinghausen out from the 10 to the 20. Larson's tackle counts at 25 now. This is Brad Clyde. 19 points to 6 in favour of the Blues. They have not won an Origin decider here. And 7 times out of 23 meetings, they've won at Lang Park. So they've been on the end of a loss 16 times in the 15-year history. Stewart, a vital cog in the New South Wales plan, and down it goes off Willie Kahn. What an unhappy night they're having, the Maroons.
One of the safest players in the game. A brilliant runner of the football, but his hands are just as good. And that's just the pressure state of Origin football. That's an easy catch. Out the ball came. He was looking for the hole to crawl into as Michael Hancock leaves the field. Mark Coyne goes on. Hancock not happy to be going to the blood bin. In those instances, you don't have a choice.
Well, you really get an easy kick from Ricky Stewart. That was one of his more ordinary ones. Willie Kahn, he caught it, had a bit of space to run into. He was thinking ahead of himself then.
Fittler's gone to the blind side here. Mullins going to 5'8". Just wonder whether they'll look to attack back to the left-hand side with Fittler already stationed that way. Any troops over there with him.
This Canberra connection is proving so valuable to the New South Wales side. Eddinghausen now goes himself under instruction from Stewart. Stewart said, take it to the centre. Eddinghausen plays it. Elias goes back to the blind, shows it once, and then gives it to Dean Payne. Payne! He got out of the tackle, but he's pulled down 8 metres out from the line. Stewart indicates we'll go to the air. He's with the ball, puts it through the hands, and Harrigan is tackled 10 metres out from the line. A quick play, the ball required. 5 tackles gone. Stewart again, the kick, and beautifully fielded by O'Neill. Julian O'Neill, up and away he goes to be tackled by the kicker.
He's looked very dangerous, Julian O'Neill. We've got a little bit of a problem on the far side. Temper starting to fray. That's Alan Langer on the bottom of that. Brad Mackay involved. I thought O'Neill almost caught the football in the in-goal area. And he made that good charge up the middle.
It's interesting to watch that, just exactly where he did take it, because remember, if you take it on the full, it's mandatory.
You see Alan Langer there was taken without the footy and objected to it.
This is Larson now. Billy Moore working on the blind side, and the penalty goes to Queensland. New South Wales inside the 10. Harrigan played the advantage. Meninga takes the kick for line. There's a lot of urgency now in what Queensland are doing. They're down 19-6. And that's Andrew G putting his body on the line. 32 metres out. Steve Walters away for Mark Hone. Queensland know that to win this game, they've got to start climbing the mountain right here. Langer across for Kevin Walters. He cuts out his captain and goes for Willie Khan's wing. Mullins makes the tackle. 33 out from the line. A high ball for Larson. Larson met by the Blues. Steve Walters now, almost to the centre of the ground, goes himself, crosses the 20-metre line, and this is Willie Khan, who had to stop and stoop down to pick it up, and again he was hammered by Mullins. Kevin Walters, long ball for Langer. Larson's outside him, so is Renoff. Ducks away from a couple, beats the tackle of Mackay for Hone to give it on to Moore, and Billy Moore is put down by Seranen and Harrigan and Dean Payne.
A great scrambling defence there. Alan Langer wanted Gary Larson to run into the hole. Unfortunately for Langer, it wasn't a Renoff or a Meninga. Larson just didn't have the speed to get there, something had opened up. Now Andrew G, hasn't he added some starch into the side?
Harrigan knows it. G hit him with everything bar his back teeth. McGregor, he's down to the 40-metre line. Andrew G, that's the man that's really causing some problems for the New South Welshmen. Daley now. A ripper of a game for Laurie Daley. Ben Elias, not to be outdone. Gave it then for Brasher, and it's gone to ground for Queensland.
Oh, you slowed him up there, Rabs. 6 again signalled.
Renoff, they need the brilliance of Renoff, and they need it now.
What about this duel out wide? Renoff and McGregor, both players, superb attackers, given no room to move by their opposition. Good defence from either side.
Billy Moore plays it with 29 minutes of the match remaining. Darren Smith, he's lost it. Picked up by his Canterbury teammate, is it, or it's Bradley Clyde with the ball. 31 metres out from his line. A sloppy pass from dummy half. Daley confronted by Moore.
Well, I don't know if Paul Seranen will be out there much longer, but geez, had a big start to the second half as Elias gets under the swinging arm of Mark Coyne. Seranen really putting his body on the line as well defensively. Almost an offside play there, gets Fittler involved. The big step, can't beat Steve Walters.
Brad Fittler now playing at 5 metres from the halfway line. This is Harrigan. The ball comes out. What will Harrigan do? He gives the penalty to the Blues. 42 metres out. They'll be kicking for line, I would imagine. A slight breeze in their face.
Yeah, well, that's silly play from Andrew G, pushing the football out. You just know you can't get away with it. That would be the thing that would be killing Wally Lewis sitting on the sideline, is the unforced errors. You're going to make errors in a game, especially at this level. The impact, the speed of the game is going to lead to errors, but the simple ones, the unforced ones, are the ones that they hurt you the most.
Now the Blues with another golden opportunity. Eddinghausen tackled on the first, 18 metres out. Stewart. Barnhill is on in 17. Seranen has left the park, and they're 12 metres out in the centre. That's where they were trying to get. Dean Pay, they put the same move together. Ben Elias, Brad Clyde. Clyde put down, 10 metres out. That's his 17th hit up in the game. Elias for Barnhill, and David Barnhill is slammed to the ground. Thundering tackle by Darren Smith and Steve Walters. Elias comes back to the right, but Stewart says go back to the left, and Daley tries to put the kick in. It's a Maroons ball, just inside their 10-metre line. Willie Khan.
He's really the man for Queensland that has to get involved now. He's got to come looking for the football, Willie Khan, their best attacking runner. He's seen very little ball, and when he has caught it, Mullins has been right on his hammer. Mark Hone coming from the open to work a wide blindside with Gary Larson now.
Let's take a sideline comment. Down there, block a roach.
Yeah, Queensland's biggest problem, they try to venture straight to the fringe of the ruck. They don't go forward first. New South Wales defence too good.
Here's a chance for Queensland as Willie Kahn takes it to the halfway line. Mal Meninga's the dummy half. Across for Alan Langer. And Langer puts the kick in. Stewart goes back. Takes it himself. Brasher's with him, but he takes the tackle of Kevin Walters. Brasher now. Across for Brad Clyde. Moore is there with G. They work on Paul Seranen. 19 tackles in the game. And 9 hit-ups for the Balmain forward. 40-metre line for New South Wales. This is Harrigan. Man of the match in Melbourne. Many thought man of the match in Sydney. Could well be the man of the series. McGregor gets away from home. Looks for support. Finds Brasher in the centre, but they put it down. Kevin Walters turning defence into attack. Julian O'Neill now, outside the 40-metre line. Good tackle by Paul Harrigan. Langer. Attention in back play for Gary Larson. Striding down the ground. Walters finds Renouf. The flying Steve Renouf. Will he make it? Yes, I think so, yes. Momentum got him across.
Back, Queensland. Great try there. Tremendous work up the middle of the ruck. David Barnhill just caught out in defence a little bit. We'll see him up the middle of the ruck, but they've turned defence into attack here, and no surprise to see Steve Renouf has got his side back into this match. This was the break. Steve Walters reads that poorly, allows McGregor on the inside, throws the ball back inside to Tim Brasher, just a little bit behind him, and straight away Julian O'Neill was there to swoop. It looked as though he'd run away from his support players in Kahn and Meninga on the outside, but from the next play, we'll see a good change in the point of attack from the Queensland side. Kevin Wallace coming back on the inside as we freeze it there. There you see, that's David Barnhill. He's come across. Nobody from New South Wales has come across to cover the inside. That leaves a big hole. A little bit of fatigue. A beautiful pass there from Kevin Walters. Difficult to throw under those circumstances. And Steve Renouf brushed a couple of players. Takes Mullins over the try line. As Ray Warren points out, it was momentum that got him there.
Well, it was Queensland's two best players involved there. Gary Larson saving a try at one end of the field. Kevin Walters there on hand for the Alfie Langer pass. Throw that beautiful ball. Steve Renouf got his team back in it.
So Julian O'Neill to bring it to 19-12. He gets the goal. Queensland are back to 19-12. 57 minutes gone. Welcome back to the restart from the Blues, and who do you think brings it back? Mal Meninga, rewriting the record books tonight, but he's never led Queensland to a series decider. Steve Walters, you can see them starting to grow the Maroons now on the back of that try by Renouf. 19-12, 7 behind now. I wonder how important will the Ben Elias field goal prove to be. Fasten the seatbelts. We've got 22 minutes of rugby league excitement. They make another mistake, Queensland.
Well, Gene Miles, with just under 22 minutes to go, is this where we see the Lang Park crowd start to play a role?
Well, there's no doubt about that, Stu. They've been so quiet for so long, and it's good to see Queensland get back in the game. And this new stand, there seems like there's about 50,000 people in it.
Daley now. 40-metre line for New South Wales. A sloppy played the ball, and the New South Wales captain sinks to his haunches. Ben Elias swamped by Alan Langer.
There's 6 again signalled there, so another Piece of luck there for New South Wales. A quick play of the ball from Fittler. Elias picks up and finds some easy metres up the middle.
Good yards by Elias, no markers. Brasher into dummy half. The forwards getting tired, the little men starting to take it from dummy half more often. McGregor is on the 40-metre line. Ben Elias keeps it low, looking for the line, which I doubt that he'll find. Coyne steps and tries to beat Eddinghausen, but Eddinghausen showed him the line. Played by Mark Coyne. Cross now for Julian O'Neill. Runs into a jolting tackle from David Barnhill. 22 metres out from their own line. That's the second tackle.
It's the go forward now. Queensland can't get away from that. They need the big men to come back into the game. And this fellow, Steve Walters, his yardage forward has been great. Pops one out the back.
Ball popping out the back, and Harrigan says play on. So this is still the fourth tackle, and Mark Coyne plays it back. It's gone from Kevin Walters over for Andrew G, and Langer running for the hole. New South Wales come up with it. Bradley Clyde tries to make the incision up the centre.
Again, one of those occasions where Kevin Walters was playing inside Alan Langer. The gap appeared. Unusual to see Langer drop one of those.
Just watching Daley in the back play. He hasn't been a part of the action for the last 18 tackles or so. He's been suffering a bout of influenza, and it looks to me as though it might have caught up with him. Mind you, he's had a blinder of the game as Brad Mackay goes in one side and almost came out the other end. Stewart is with it, looks for Daley, who's there. Then McGregor angles back off his right foot. Big call, McGregor. He tells us today he's going to stay with the Illawarra Steelers. 5 tackles gone, and Stewart runs to the defence line, ducks underneath them, gives it to Elias, and Elias puts the kick in. And the touch judge indicates it found the touchline rather than the in-touch in goal.
A very clever play there from Ben Elias. Stewart running the ball on the last tackle, nothing unfolded. Kicking for touch isn't a bad ploy for the New South Wales side at the moment. The scoreboard is in their favour, the clock's in their favour. The less football in motion, the better it is for them.
Wherever you're watching the State of Origin decider, I hope you're enjoying it. Mark Coyne playing it in front of his own uprights. And now a good run by Billy Moore.
You see big Darren Fritz has just come on, winding himself up for a run. To get the side, the momentum of the Queenslanders. What they need to do now is to try to get sets of 6 back-to-back. Turning the ball over early.
Kevin Walters, Steve Renoff. Over the line once, Renoff. Will he do it again? From Steve Walters to Alan Langer to Kevin Walters, and leaves Mal Meninga out of it. Willie Kahn is with it. On the run around is Julian O'Neill. Now he's back on the inside. Kevin Walters has gone to dummy half. They're near the halfway line on the last. As O'Neill puts the kick in, keeps it low. The bounce is there for Andrew Eddinghausen, the second in fact. He comes outside the 20-metre line. Billy Moore and Gary Larson, they make the tackle jointly. Moore's had his best Origin match in the series tonight. This is Brad Clyde. 32 metres out from his line. 17 and a half minutes to go. 19-12 in favour of the Blues. They led at one stage 18-0. Benny Elias having a tremendous game. His last State of Origin, Ben Elias. That has probably been overshadowed by the end of the Meninga career in Origin football. Barnhill playing it now. 5 gone. Stewart's kick. Straight between O'Neill and Kahn. Mullins is flying down the ground. Will he make the tackle? He doesn't have to worry about it really, because it's with Julian O'Neill now.
Yeah, pinball machine there. He's bounced off the goalpost, did Julian O'Neill. Beautiful work from Willie Kahn to keep his cool. A little ball back inside. He knew how important it was not to get caught for a line dropout. Just the ball changed direction. Just have a look at this. You see Kahn, he knows that Mullins is there, so he's got some work to do. O'Neill takes the football. Bang, into the post. Have to keep that one up your sleeve. Oh, mistake on the far side. Mal Meninga, you see the grimace on the face. Can't afford mistakes down this end of the field. A little bit of momentum was going their way. Shows the dummy inside. Again going across. A mix-up. Bad communication between Mal and his winger. The mistake was forced.
15-7, the handling errors. And Queensland on the wrong side of it. And you can't make errors of that proportion and win a game at this level. New South Wales with a vital scrum feed inside the 30-metre line, and it's up to Daley. Laurie Daley, 27 metres out from the line. Stewart appeals for a penalty, and this is Clyde now. He takes it inside the 20-metre zone. That's where they are, centre of the ground. Elias away to the left. Barnhill, the decoy. Dean Payers with it. Gets it out the back for Brad Mackay. Across now for Stewart. Holds up the pass. Then turns Daley back in field. And Daley is pulled down by Fritz. McGregor going into dummy half. Now it's with Brad Fittler. So often does he pop up in first receiver position. Very close to the line, the Blues. Elias across, and then Harrigan, he's forced down.
Great defence there. Harrigan telegraphed himself a little bit. Last tackle now.
Dean Play is down in back play. Across for Stewart. He rolls it into the end goal. And he's put too much weight on it, so it'll come out to the 20-metre line.
Oh, really poor kick there from Ricky Stewart. They are very big in-goal areas here. Really should have come up with a better kick there. You see there. He knows that it was a pretty ordinary effort.
Let's take a sideline comment from Gene Miles.
What Queensland need is someone to add a little bit of inspiration here. The captain, if Mel just grabs the ball, takes it up, I'm sure that the other 12 guys in the maroon jersey will follow with him.
I got the opinion after Renoff's try that they started to grow their confidence, their go forward, and then New South Wales replied. Here's now Meninga. Mal Meninga takes it up to the 40-metre line. As if he was wired for sound with Gene Miles, his former centre partner.
Oh, he's sending signals down there, Gino.
Steve Walters now. Shoveling it back for his brother Kevin. 33 metres out from the New South Wales line. The last tackle. Harrigan has warned New South Wales about being inside the 10. Langer goes high. Brasher's got his eyes on it. Lets it bounce. Queensland break it down. Khan is with it. He puts it up again. Stewart's underneath it. And Stewart, not held in the first tackle, is taken in the second. Mullins will come away. Decides to pass. Brasher left with that job. Fritz is the tackler. Back inside the New South Wales 20-metre line. Paul Harrigan. Chris Johns, who didn't get a scent of the Melbourne cricket ground, is about to go onto Lang Park. Ben Elias goes down under Alan Langer's tackle, and the headgear comes out for Ian Roberts. He's going back into the battle.
It's good to see Chris Johns get a run tonight. He was actually given the option with about 6 or 7 minutes to go on at the Melbourne cricket ground. Must have been very difficult for him to say no, leave the guys out there. That kick, Julian O'Neill, fields on the full, brings it back, good field position on the halfway line. A chance here for Queensland with just under 13 minutes left on the clock.
Away from Kevin Walters, a dummy half. Through Darren Smith, it finds Billy Moore, and he's put down by David Barnhill. They're right on the halfway mark, the Maroons. They're down by 7 points. 12 and a half minutes to go in the Origin decider. This is Larson, and Larson will play it back for Queensland to go on the attack just into New South Wales's area. Langer around the back, a second man play, then Big Mal. He chimes in, shows it to Renoff, brushes away from McGregor, then puts Coyne in field. Coyne gets his pass away. Steve Walters is with it. They're down to the 30-metre line, the Maroons, and the never say die attitude is starting to rise to the surface. Away for Langer now. He crosses the 30. Kevin Walters improves. Kevin Walters, he runs into a swarm of the Blues. Now it's the fifth tackle coming up. Fritz has found himself a dummy half. Out for Alan Langer. Langer puts the grubber through. Back there to field it is Brasher. And Brasher is tackled about 3 metres out from his own line.
Well, I think Alf went the wrong way there. All his players were back to the left. In fact, if Kevin Walters could have thrown the long ball, there were 3 unmarked Queenslanders on this far wing. You see that Alan Langer's got nobody out there except Gary Larson, and plenty of blue jerseys there, cleaned up well by Brasher.
19 to 12, the Blues leading with 11 and a half minutes of time to go now. Daley tackled on the 30-metre line. Capacity house here at Lang Park, the new Lang Park.
Ian Roberts back into the fray, takes the place of Paul Harrigan. Last tackle now, back to Stewart. Looks for open spaces and finds it between the fullback and winger.
O'Neill pointing to Khan. Your ball. Khan is with it. Steps around Brad Fittler. Runs away from Barnhill. The pass is forward. And Julian O'Neill lashes out in frustration.
Well, we've seen two mistakes tonight that you won't see again all season, and maybe next season as well, from Willie Khan. He's been hurt in that tackle. He was actually looking at the defender when he threw the football. May have been some impact there after the ball had gone, but he beats Brad Fittler here beautifully with the step. Now he's trying to position his outside man, but he's looking at the defender when he throws the football. Oh, and he did cop one high. He ducked into the tackle, I have to say that. Yeah, he slipped under it.
He's copped one around the chin. It looks like from here, like Willie Khan is out to it. The trainer doing his best there to bring him around.
Well, it's not the first time this season that Willie Khan has been knocked out.
No, that's right. He took an awful knock to the head only about 6 weeks ago.
Unfortunately, that's just one of those things that can happen in a game full of collisions. And again, unfortunately, the stretcher coming out. It's been out here 2 times too many.
So we'll take a break. 19 to 12 in favour of the Blues.
Of the Queensland, Mark Coy. Coming on, Michael Hancock.
Well, it's not really a good welcome back to you, because Willie Khan is still on the turf here at Lang Park. He took a high shot, but I think fair-minded people would agree that he fell into it more so than the defender went up looking for his throat or head area.
That's Laurie Daley down getting some attention. No, in fact, it's Mullins. Laurie Daley, we haven't cited a lot of him for the last 10 minutes. I think whether it's the influenza that has caught up, or the fact that the knee might be playing up a little bit, his involvement hasn't been as pronounced as what it was for the first 50 or 60 minutes. He's still telling the guys what he needs, what he wants. 10 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock. 10 minutes, 42 seconds away from State of Origin series victory. And again, once, as it always does with Laurie Daley, the eyes tell the story.
Well, the eyes of Wally Lewis also tell the story. He's sitting alongside there Chris Close. Chris was in the first 1980 State of Origin match. That's him in now, going down. A message for the bench, having a quick word to Andrew G. And Chris Close, of course, played in the centres, if memory serves me correctly, alongside Mal Meninga in the very first Queensland Origin team.
He's still doing plenty of road running too, obviously, Chris Close. Fills the blazer out.
Yeah, he does. 10 minutes to go. We're just over 10 minutes. And these players, they were certainly hitting the brick walls. We're going to be in for some pretty quick footy rabs. Given they're all so far, and this rest is going to do them the world of good. Queensland, it's all or nothing.
I think it's the highest tribute you can pay to Queensland to say that a team down 18-0 in a State of Origin, and I didn't hear anybody suggesting that they were gone. And I don't think anybody is about to, or was about to, and now they're down by 7 with 10 3/4 minutes to go, and still nobody prepared to think that the Queenslanders are gone.
I think Sterlo maybe thought they were gone, but he's just phoned his bookie, actually. He's just phoned his bookie to get a bet on him.
Well, that's an old trick. He's probably getting the match on delay, and Sterlo gets in transit. It's a great way to bet. But let's just focus some attention back on Willie Khan. Earlier in the match, we had Jason Smith taken from the field in a similar manner. And now it's the turn of Willie Khan. Here it is again. And there was no doubt that he was on his way to ground. I'm just trying to think who the New South Wales player is. I've got a feeling it might be Bradley Clyde. But there is a question mark on that. Willie Khan comes off.
Good news for Willie on that pass. It wasn't his best pass. I don't think he's going to remember that. We'll need to watch the replay. Disneyland still.
Quite concerned, and Bronco teammates would be, as we just pointed out a while ago, very aware of the knock that Billy Khan took on a Saturday match, I think it was, about 6 weeks ago. Steve Roach on the sidelines.
Yeah, and Laurie Daley just instructing to his players that they should do what Gus Gould told them at half-time. He said they're trying to close up shop. You've got to go forward, boys, and try and keep it down their end.
I think the scene is set, Ray, for probably the best impact player in the league to bring Gordon Tallis on. The perfect situation for him.
So the Blues now 35 metres out from the line. Chris Johns has gone into the game. Mark Coyne has gone back for Queensland. And this is Dean Pay playing in only his second Origin match. And I think it needs to be said that he's not shown any sign of nerves in either of the matches. As Fittler comes wide, finding McGregor. McGregor throws the dummy inside, or thought twice about passing. And he's held 10 metres away from the Queensland line. Elias into dummy half. Stewart wants it. It's with Fittler. Now for Stewart. Then for Daley. He angles back to the blind side. And Fritz it is who pulls him down on the fifth. Elias now rolls it over the sideline, slowing the play down, time consuming.
And got the approving nod from Ricky Stewart. Stewart was on the left side of the ruck. Always a good thing for a side to have a dummy half who can kick the football. As we've mentioned before, everybody is onside when he puts boot to ball. It takes a lot of pressure off that man there, the number 7. Elias is going out in style in his last Origin game.
Langer using Michael Hancock to take it away, and Hancock tries to brush away Tim Brasher. As Queensland send Andrew G to the sidelines once more. The coaches using the bench now and using it more frequently. That was a great tackle by Dean Pay on Canterbury teammate Darren Smith. Now it's with Renoff. And when you see him given a pass, a wide ball back on his own 10-metre line, he makes you stand up and take notice. Those that were at the grand final 2 years ago would know what I'm talking about. This is Darren Fritz, 30 metres out from his own line. The clock, 8.5 minutes to go now. As Steve Walters throws the pass back and Brad Mackay comes up with it for the Blues. So once again we see some good fortune smiling on New South Wales. This is David Barnhill.
The Queensland players were appealing for offside there, claiming that it came off a New South Wales hand and taken in an offside position as Johns winds up centre field. A couple of tackles still up their sleeve.
Stewart, one-handed show of the ball, almost as though he was going to hand it to Bradley Clyde, then pulled it back in. He plays it on the 20-metre line. Another good opportunity for the Blues, and this is Chris Johns coming from the centres to lend a hand for the forwards. Playing in his 11th Origin game. Across from Stewart. They go for the drop goal off Bradley Fittler's boot, and it's there! The second drop goal in the game for the Blues. And they lead by 20 points to 12 now.
Well, just that little bit tougher now for Queensland. Take the point. No pressure on Brad Fittler. I think that took Queensland by surprise. The important thing now for the Blues is not to make a mistake from the kickoff. That's the danger in taking the 1 point, is that all of a sudden play is down your end of the field. And they need a good set of 4 or 5 tackles here and a long kick from Stewart.
8 points the margin then. Queensland need a converted try and then a penalty, and that would still only bring them level, and the Blues would retain the shield. 7 minutes to go. Stewart across for Brad Clyde. Clyde, who scored the first try. 5 metres on his own side of halfway. Elias scurries in before passing to Dean Pay. He's been very strong tonight. Elias again. And now it's Fittler, taken down by Billy Moore.
And this is where Queensland need to put some pressure on Ricky Stewart or Ben Elias. Getting the kicks away quite easily. Once again, they find the sideline. Pressure's off. For a moment.
Stewart, a little smile.
Yeah, he's happy with proceedings, lads. Very professional play here from New South Wales. No, they don't have to try anything fancy. They know they have to keep going forward. They are very aware that everything is in their favour. Just don't want to give an opportunity to Queensland, which means, and the worst way to do that would be to give them possession close to their own line.
You might not have seen... Oh, here's an intercept and a try, and State of Origin 1994. Brad Fittler scores the try, and that is it. 24 points to 12, and another Queensland mistake leading to a New South Wales try.
Yes, you have to say 3 tries tonight for New South Wales have been very soft. Just a bad pass here. A long cut-out pass. Mal Meninga couldn't get up high enough, and Brad Fittler, again, had to be there to catch the football. That's the thing about luck in this game. You have to put yourself in a position to take advantage of it, and that's what New South Wales have done tonight.
So Brad Fittler, only seconds ago, kicked the drop goal and now scores the try, and that has put the Origin beyond doubt. It remains with the Blues a record-breaking 3rd year in a row, and that man has been at the helm for all 3 years.
Speculator there, we see Mal Meninga trying to get his boys. Give one last dig. You almost know that the game, it's got to be out of reach with this goal, 14 points behind. No one knows where that sort of speculator came from. Definitely some desperation there from Queensland. Brad Fittler, well, he won't score an easier Origin try, if any try in any game.
I doubt that there could be a player in the side that Coach Gould would like to have seen scored the try any more than Freddie Fittler. Coach Gould has taken him very much under his wing as Brasher converts. The Blues now by 26 points to 12 after 75.
Well, here we see the try again. Queensland had to try something. They had to score twice. Kevin Walters just the pinpoint of his passing a little bit off there. Bradley Fittler has probably had to submerge his ego a little bit in this side, playing in the centres, not touching the football as much as he does in club football, but he's compensated in other areas. He really has kept a close rein on his opponents in defence. Every now and then when he needed to come in and take some pressure off his forwards, he's been prepared to roll the sleeves up and get involved.
There he is, the man of the moment, Brad Fittler. Ball played by Ian Roberts. And now it's with Dean Pay again. Kevin Walters around the bootlaces, Brad Mackay. He spent a lot of time in this game tonight. In fact, he has spent a lot of time in the series for a bench player. And such, of course, is the wealth of players that are available. When you think of Brad Mackay being a bench player, you know that rugby league is healthy in Australia. Stewart keeping it low. It'll bounce up for Hancock to come away off his 20-metre line. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Queensland needing 2 converted tries and then some. So there is no way they can get out of this one. Those of us that were at the Sydney Football Stadium have been hesitant to say that. And understandably, I feel. Moore throwing the speculator. Walters using Larson. And Larson is put away, 40 metres out from his line. Mountain of work by Gary Larson, 38 tackles and 14 hit-ups. But Billy Moore, 35 tackles and 18 hit-ups as the Blues come back with it now. Brasher, a slapping hand over the face from Darren Smith. Didn't even earn the respect of the referee, and nor should it. This is Clyde. Going on as Nagus for a little taste of it. Clyde, 28 tackles, 23 hit-ups. Roberts pushing it out for Elias. And back and across. The Blues come up the line again. They're queuing up as Stewart is tackled. 28 metres out from the Maroons line. And Ken Nagus is the dummy half. Nagus swerving across the ground and inside the 20-metre line. Another of the Raiders goes into the game. The last, and Ben Elias goes for the drop goal. And this time he's got it again. I thought he might have missed it. But the little fellow, the bouncing Benny, gets another point. 27 to 12. 78 minutes gone, and this is how it happened.
Well, it was all over. Even before this kick, a nice one, Benny Elias. Put his name in the record book for a last time. Starting to sink in, Ray. It's all over for Mal Meninga. Hasn't gone out on the winning note we all would have loved to see him go out on. Well, certainly the Queensland fans' point of view. Can't take anything away from his performance. He's been involved heavily out there tonight.
I think the next time he has a party, he won't be sending invitations to these blue fellows. They have come here and spoilt one of the biggest parties ever held in Queensland. Smiles all round for Bob Saunders, Jeff Carr, Phil Gould. The New South Wales management as Stewart's pass bounces for Nagus, and Nagus is tackled 40 metres out from the line.
Irrespective of the result tonight, he was always going to go out to win at Meninga anyway.
Roberts flicks it out the back, and Ben Elias makes a mistake. It's scooped away by Larson for Langer, and Langer is put down.
Notice all here, we're counting down and nobody's leaving. We're all staying for the Meninga send-off. The losers,
Darren Smith now
Queensland.
angles O'Neill back in to the halfway line. 14 seconds left in the match. New South Wales hold the shield, and they rewrite the record books for a New South Wales side. Moore, the pass over for Coyne, and a desperate save over there by Chris Johns. And there's the siren in the background. It is all over. New South Wales wins the Origin of 1994. What a series it's been. Sydney, of course, was a miracle. Melbourne was history. And now New South Wales wrap it up at Lang Park, something they've never done before. Win an Origin decider at Lang Park. 27 points to 12, an exit from the Origin scene, one of rugby league's greats, Meninga.